Hello and welcome to episode 131 of Beyond the Brick. I'm Joshua Hanlon,
And I'm Matthew Kay.
and we'd like to thank BrickFest Live for their support of Beyond the Brick. BrickFest Live will be held at the Maryland State Fairgrounds on September 19th through the 21st, and it's a public event with a lot of hands-on attractions, so there's stuff to do for the whole family there. If you're in the area, I definitely encourage you to check that out. You can find more info at brickfestlive.com, and I'll make sure to put a link to them in the description of this video so you can check out all the conventions and all the different places they'll be holding those. Now, I wanted to remind you about our Apple-themed Lego building contest. So if you want to build an Apple product, I definitely encourage you to check out that contest. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, so you can check out all the rules there and some of the cool prizes that we'll be giving away for that contest. It runs through the end of September, so if you're interested, you need to get building soon. So I'll make sure to include a link to that so you can get building for the Apple product contest that we have going right now. Now, joining us on the show today, we're very happy to have Jan Beyer, and he is 38 years old and a member of the LEGO Community Support Team. So, Jan, it's really great to have you on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be on the show.
Thank you very much for joining us. So if you just want to start off by telling people a little bit about what you do in your position as a community support member.
Yes, for sure. I'm a community manager, and I basically take care of the regions Eastern Europe and Pacifics, like Australia, New Zealand, and not the least Asia, which is of course one of our focus markets and a very huge area. So I would say I'm the counterpart to Kevin Hinkle. You might know. I also have a colleague, Kim Thompson. He's taking care of Europe. So yes, I'm taking care of these areas, and I'm basically, I would say, the main contact person for the AFOLs in this area and the link between the AFOLs and the LEGO group.
Now that is a big region of the world, both like geographically and in terms of populace. What's like the biggest, I guess, headache for you in terms of, is there like a cultural divide that you find yourself having to kind of jump across a lot? What's like the big headache that you deal with on a daily basis?
Yeah, I would say the first one is the time zone, which of course makes it a little bit complicated because Australia is way ahead. Then you have Asia; it's kind of ahead. Eastern Europe is usually on the same time zone as Denmark, but you have Russia, which is a little bit ahead. So time zone is of course it is an issue at least, but we will work around that. We used to work at odd times. On the other hand, of course there are some cultural differences, but if it comes down to AFOLs, all like Lego, all love Lego, all speak the Lego language, I would say. Exactly. So it's at the beginning you think there are a lot of differences, but when you come closer to the people, it's not the big difference what you see from other areas. So I think around the world it's fairly similar. Of course, the people build different stuff. I think the one of the biggest challenges, I would say, is also, especially in some Asian countries, is the English language. Some of them are not really so good in speaking English, and for me, not speaking any Asian language. I think it's really a challenge, and I always need to find people I really can rely to language-wise who can help me out in translating and finding the right words for the people. But in general, it's a challenge, but I can work around it. It's working quite well, actually.
As long as you're speaking the common language of Lego, right? That's kind of,
yes, as long as that works everywhere. Yes.
There you go.
So do you have like the certain translator AFOLs that you make sure to hook up with whenever you're in a certain area that you know can help you out with that kind of thing?
Yes, usually I have some people who I have worked with for a longer time, and I trust them really a lot. So I'm pretty sure that they tell me what's going on. So on the one hand, they help me to like get the pulse of the area, because it's as you say, a huge area and a lot of people. Also the LUCs in these countries are quite big. If you, for example, look on Taiwan, they have 110,000 members in one LUC, which is incredible.
Is that a real number?
That is a real number. Yes,
a real number.
It is. Still, these LUC figures, like member figures, it's still something we not fully have defined, and we will look into, because the definition can, of course, vary from really paying members in one group to people on Facebook who like the group. But this 110,000 in the Taiwanese group is really something like, they told me, like they have all names and they have all data and it's really members. So I will investigate more into these figures, but it's for the moment we need to consider this as a real member figure.
So is that actually a priority amongst the community team, coming up with like a standard set definition for the whole world as to what a lug is? Because like if one lug is saying everybody that likes their Facebook page, and then the other one is like everybody that pays $300 and brings 25 buildings to a...
Yes.
Yeah.
We work on, with the new Lego Ambassador Network. At least we defined a rule set for being a registered lug, what we call it. So like that you get registered by Lego you have some certain criteria, and then we say, okay, that's cool, you fulfill these criteria, so you're registered, so you get access to the support programs we are offering. And the other people or the other lugs who are not fulfilling the criteria, unfortunately for the moment, they have something to strive up to and to see, okay, what can we do, or what do we need to achieve to get the benefits. But for sure, I think it would be the better way or the easier way if we in the CE team on the community support team try to define a certain framework instead of the other way around, because there's so many different ways to measure and to count figures. So I think it's easier to say, okay, this is the figure we should count, and then the people can try to see if they can measure that figure.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm. So now, with a group like the size of the Taiwanese lug, are they putting on shows with a lot of these members? Because you'd only need like half that group to show up, and you'd have a massive lug just with the people showing up, let alone any public. Are they doing a lot of shows, or is it mostly just members of the lug?
They of course they have a big forum where a lot of people are very, very active, but they do shows. Of course not with 110,000 people, not even with half of it. That's impossible. So it's usually a smaller amount of members, mostly the very, very active ones. But they do physical shows and try to incorporate not everybody, but a lot of people. So it's really. That's something we need to learn also, and to get some insights about. And I need to learn more about how they are organized, but how we to involve even more people. So I think it will be a kind of co-creation activity somehow, if you want to say it like this, to get a better understanding of this massive size of groups. We never have seen that before. Before I went out there, the biggest luck we encountered was, I think, the Bouwsteen in the Netherlands with something like 1,000 or 1,100 members. That was so like
many magnitudes larger.
Yes,
many magnitudes larger. Yeah.
Yes. So in Asia, it's very common like to have lugs out of South Korea with something like 25, 30,000 members. So very different.
Now, this is something that we've touched on, I think, in previous episodes, and I would be interested to hear your input. In Western Europe and North America, for the most part, and even Australia, it's kind of, I guess the English language is a common theme. So the AFOLs are kind of sharing all of their creations in the same ecosystem, like Flickr, Rebrick, Brickshelf, Mock Pages. Now, these Asian lugs with all of these members, and obviously they're building, where are they sharing their stuff online? Is it on Flickr, or do they have their own closed forum? Where they're
Yeah, they have their own forums, but they also do some stuff on Flickr. But they also have all these, for example, if you look into China, the Chinese government is not really so fond of having people on Facebook or all these Flickr, all these other Western sharing sites. So they create their own sharing sites or their own software. Like they have a program called Weibo, which is a kind of Facebook Chinese version. So the people are using mainly the local versions of similar software. So it's more what it's and they also feel a little bit not so much involved. So that's also one of my tasks, to get the people more involved, to get the people more out into the whole community. And
exactly.
I think it's mainly due to the language that they're a little bit afraid, because especially the Asians are striving always to the best. They want to be perfect in everything they do. and if they're not perfect in English, then they are afraid to make mistakes or do something which might fall back on them. So therefore, I think they try to rather not being too much involved, even though they would love it to be there. So I already had a discussion a little bit with Josh before we talked about trying to find some people who are very well English speaking, because I know them and I spoke to them. They are very well English speaking. To get some people on your from Asia on your show to
exactly. Because when I hear those numbers tossed out, those figures, that is insane. That might be like every AFOL in America is the size of that one lug,
yes,
to a certain degree.
Yes.
I would love to see what they're doing. So yeah, it's important. Like, that's interesting. Weibo, all those other. So there definitely is stuff out there. That's cool.
Yes, for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, because it's definitely true, like Matthew said, obviously we're on Flickr and sites like that, and we know there are Asian builders out there building, but you just don't see a lot of their work on there, so it's definitely great when you can. I guess that's a little bit of an explanation why you don't see a lot of their work there, but it'd definitely be cool to see more of that in the future.
For sure, and it's also a very new market for us. So it's I have been a couple of times out there, and I try my best to investigate the market as good as I can. But there's still a lot of investigation and cooperation ahead of us to get a much better understanding of the market, of the cooperation. Also what Lego could do to make things interesting for the market, because it's a huge market, and the culture is different. So probably it could be great to do special sets for these huge markets. It's something that could probably happen in the future, to make also some special things for them, like having an architecture set, which is probably an Asian landmark, or having special themed sets for all the celebrations they're doing. They're doing all these celebrations, cultural celebrations. They have much more cultural celebrations compared to what we have. So probably there's something we can tie into.
And that's already kind of being done with Europe and the United States, right? A little American flag kind of set or something.
Yes. So Asia has been really an overseen market for a long time, probably because it's a very difficult market. Probably you need to be very careful in this market, or you need to have a very good knowledge of the market. But it has been a little bit overseen. Also, we not had the necessary resources to tap into the market, like also from our little team. So the setup is also very different, as it was in like let's say in the European region, also in the North American region, because there you had the AFO group and you had the offices, the Lego offices representing the Lego company in the different markets, and it was more like that the people already made contact with the local offices to a certain degree in Asia, because there was no connection to the main office in Billund. And in the other markets, it was more like the AFOs were a little bit separated from the local offices, so we started to make contact, so that the way of how the people got together is also slightly different. So in Asia, we need to go into the market and work with the office and the AFOs to first understand the cooperation they already have, and then help them to do that in a sustainable way.
Definitely.
How long has Lego been targeting Asia specifically then? Is this something just in the last year or something you guys really started to pick up on this, or how long has that been going on? You've really been trying to push it there?
We had of course sales offices in all the Asian, or a lot of Asian countries, a long time. We even had a factory in South Korea, I think, almost 10 years ago, but that got closed. So, that we really have focused in Asia and put a lot of efforts in from our team, but also from Lego in general. I would say that happened probably in the past 2 to 3 years.
Now, I am a big fan of the C-Team blog.
Yes.
Check it every day, multiple times a day. And I saw your recent posting about your trip to Asia, and you visited the under construction Lego factory that they're going to be constructing in, is it China?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it will be a factory in China, actually, and it will be a big challenge, because I think doing things in China is always a challenge. But I think we will get some, what I saw on the intranet at least, we will get some good people out there who can help with setting up the manufacturing in a good way, and I think it's a good step, because for the moment we are fulfilling most parts of Asia from Europe, and that is of course logistic-wise a big challenge. also time-wise. So I think it's a good step. On the other hand, of course, we need to make sure that the production is done in the right way, and the quality is the right quality what we want to achieve. But I'm very confident that our colleagues are working on that to a very, very high degree, so that the quality and also the work environment and everything will live up to the standards Lego wants to have.
And now, just to get clarification on that, is this a Lego owned and operated factory, or is this like a contractor factory?
So no, it's Lego owned and operated.
Okay, so it's not like some other third-party manufacturer.
No, we have that for the moment because especially the electrical parts, which are basically it's so expensive that you cannot do anything electrical in Western countries. That's you cannot afford it basically, and also some of the parts you usually see if you see small parts coming in the bag. In an extra bag, like for example some Star Wars helmets.
With like some kind of specialized painting, all that kind
of. Yes. Sometimes they come in a separated bag, only a helmet or something like that. Those elements are usually produced in China.
Okay. And are those coming from third parties, or is that a Lego-owned factory?
No, they're coming from third-party suppliers.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting.
For the moment. And I hope that we move that, but it's not completely, that's not my business, so it's not completely decided to my knowledge at least where that get moved to. But I would guess that when we start our own factory in China, I would guess that this get moved to our own factory. But as I said, that is only a guess from my side.
Sure.
So will there be more like whole kits made there, do you think, or is that not something that's been decided yet? Will they start making kits for specifically Chinese and Asian markets?
I would say I would see a future in that, but it's not decided. We did one set. I think it was based on a creator set, and it was for the year of the snake. Was
a
Chinese version.
Of course.
Yes, and it was based on an existing creator set, and then they added some few bricks to it and made a new packaging. But it was very, very well seen in China, and Asia in general. The people really liked it. So I think due to the size of the market and due to the, let's say, lack of knowledge of the Lego brand, especially in China, I think it would be a good way to boost the brand.
Definitely.
It's a very different experience. What I see from at least my entering into the market, especially in China, of course, Hong Kong or South Korea or Japan, all these countries, they have a big knowledge about the Lego brand. But if you go into China, it's a huge country and the knowledge is very, very limited. So I would rather say all the copycats of the Lego product has been there before us because they're usually coming from China. So it's really like it's a very different setup for Lego entering a market where Lego is not so known as it is in mostly all other countries. So I think it's a very, very big challenge actually to broaden the knowledge of the Lego brand.
Definitely.
That's an interesting point you bring up about what a lot of people would call clone brands or something like that of Lego that are already obviously established in China. There are a lot of them there.
Yes.
Are there certain marketing things that you guys try to do when there's already established brands like that, or things that you purposely try to target fans with because of those other brands there?
Yeah, but in general, I think our marketing team in China is very new, so they of course try to find a strategy what they can do to get the brand into the market. But I think in general you cannot compete with these other brands on price. That's not possible. So we own because they are for sure always cheaper because they can have cheap labor. They use a different material. They're not using ABS, but some cheaper stuff. They only have a very limited assortment of bricks, of shapes. The building construction is usually not living up to the standard Lego wants to have. So I think we can more compete about the quality and the building experience rather around the price. I think that will not work. But on the other hand, you need to first get the people in the market, the customers, to understand that what is Lego? Why is Lego better, or why do we think Lego is better than the other brands? That need to be understood. Then the people need to get the feeling for it, Also, the people need to have the money. You know, most Chinese not even have the money to buy a Lego set. Lego is very expensive.
But that's changing, right? The rise of the middle class, right? China.
Oh, yeah, it's changing, but still, there are a lot of people who not even have enough money to buy food, I would say.
Yeah,
In the bigger cities, there are also a lot of people who get better wages, and I think also can afford it. But it's still a quite expensive toy. I can only compare to European prices, but if you compare to European prices, it's almost double to triple the price of European prices. So for US, it would almost be, I would say, 5 or 6 times the price. The one Lego set in China. So, and that's due to transportation cost and due to taxes and due to all the stuff to get the sets into the country.
And now this is something that we've touched on with other, I think the 1 or 2, maybe 3 Asian AFOLs that we've interviewed before. They've brought up that Lego, I think it was Malaysia specifically, right, Josh?
Yeah, I think
that,
so.
That in Malaysia there's one distributor licensed for Lego, and so because of that they kind of they put those markups in. But then there's also that, because it is kind of a monopoly on the distribution, that they just kind of, they can mark it up however they like. So it's like it's cheaper to go to a Western reseller and purchase a set with their markup and get it shipped halfway across the world than it is to go down the street. And is that like, do you have any input on that maybe?
You know, that's of course all this pricing policy can be a real challenge, and I think we need to be careful to only say because it's a monopoly of one reseller, one distributor, that they can set the prices as they want. For sure, you know, if you would be in that position, you would also try to get the maximum out of the stuff you buy and resell. So it's you know, in some markets it's of course a limited influence we have.
Do you think Lego will be establishing more direct distribution channels with the advent of this new factory?
I think they are looking into it, but on the other hand, we also need to be careful, you know, to not burn the bridges with our long-time distributors. So I think it's always a balance you need to find to deliver the best service and the best assortment. But on the other hand, also to have you know, the local people on board who have the knowledge and probably the operational chain which is needed. So I think it's always a balance.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Now, something I was going to ask you about is we've obviously talked about you've got the different time zones and everything you have to deal with on a daily basis. What are some of the daily activities that you are usually doing? Some of your daily duties. I don't know if you can kind of walk us through what a normal day is like for you.
A normal day, that's a good question. You know, they can change rapidly if something is going on. But usually, you know, I come in the office and then let's say when I get up in the morning, of course, and then I get into my car, and due to that I'm living approximately 130 kilometers away from the place where I'm working. I drive for around 1.5 hours in the morning, and usually I make phone calls in the morning. So I call some people I let's say have a good relationship with and have a good dialogue, so they usually give me probably already some input what they have seen overnight, or if there have been some issues or something, or I probably exchange some ideas already in the morning, and then I enter the office and of course checking emails first if I not have done that already at the breakfast table. Depends on if my wife is up or not. But then of course, you know, checking some emails, and usually it's the boring stuff like having some meetings with some colleagues, as everybody does, I guess. But of course, it's sometimes emergencies are coming in when we say, okay, now we have some leaked pictures, which is like high on the agenda for the moment, if you not have seen it. Yes. So that can happen, or if suddenly, you know, some people need to get some insights or some input around AFOLs, or are planning some new activities with some AFOLs. It's usually that what you do the whole day. And of course, email is very important, but also I use Facebook a lot, which is a very nice tool for me to get connected to a lot of people. So I think that's a nice tool. Otherwise, also usually with the Asian people, they are really into these messaging tools. So they have a software called Line. I'm not sure you are familiar with that one. It's actually I think it's a South Korean or Japanese company doing that. So they use it. It's a little bit like WhatsApp. So you can share pictures, you can share short messages. So they use that a lot. So usually I use that for contact with a lot of Asian guys. They are really fast living. Their life is so fast. It's incredible. So they use that all the time. So email is not so common out there, at least not to communicate with me. Yeah, but that's the usual day.
Okay. So are you in contact with the other LEGO community members, such as like Kevin or Kim, very often throughout the day, or is that not very often?
Oh, sure.
Talk? Okay.
Kim sits right across, on the other side of my desk, basically.
Whoa!
Unless we are not working from home, of course. But usually he sits there, and we have a dialogue like every time we're going for lunch together. We talk all the time about stuff. When he has something where he says, "Oh, I'm not sure what to do about this," we usually spar, and same for me. If it's always good, to have a second person giving some input to some difficult things. So we do that a lot, and I have at least a weekly check-in with Kevin to make sure that we are not that we're catching up and that we are not overseeing some stuff which is probably important, even though the markets are very far away and I have no say in his market, but still exchanging some things, and the world is global. We are not like separating stuff or whatever. So it's a global world, and we need to act global. So of course we have a lot of check-ins to make sure that we work as good as possible together.
How often do you guys get together? Is there a meeting on a Hawaiian island a couple times a year?
That would be nice. That would be nice. Actually, we have 2 team meetings a year. So 2 times a year we are meeting. Usually, actually, we have one upcoming first week of October this year. So the October or the autumn one is usually in Billund. So Kevin comes over. And the other one, and it's usually only 1.5 days, and the other one is some more days, usually 2 to 3 days, and that is more in springtime, and we usually do it outside of a working location. So it could be in a summer cottage somewhere in Denmark, or it could be we have been in Prague in our office there, or it's more like to find some locations where we probably can learn something and can
go
get
somewhere and add some value, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
That would be nice. So I of course would, from my knowledge, I would suggest to do something in Asia. That would be cool, and I think the other people would love it. But travel costs might.
Little beach resort in Thailand, maybe.
Yeah. Thailand would also be a good idea. Sure, why not?
You'll have to start putting in suggestions there for travel destinations for the next meeting.
Yes, we do that all the time, but our boss is probably not so happy about that.
Yeah. Now, what was some of your personal history with LEGO like? Did you play with it as a kid, and was working for LEGO kind of a dream job for you? Is this something you discovered as you got older that might be interesting to do?
Yes, actually, yeah, I played with LEGO, and I had almost all space sets available back then. I also have Playmobil, because I think Playmobil is also a nice toy. It's very different from LEGO, so it's both. I not really see Playmobil as a competitor. A lot of colleagues really see Playmobil as a competitor, but I think it's giving you a different play experience. So I have both brands, and but when I grew older, I of course got into Dark Ages, as most of the people. So I stopped a little bit. But when I moved to Denmark, actually, or shortly before that, I was in Legoland, and they had the Ultimate Collector Series X-Wing on sale. And also the TIE Fighter, and I decided, come on, buying both, and I had that was really the first one I bought again after buying both. I felt that was probably a little bit too expensive, so I decided for one. So I bought the X-Wing, and thought, okay, I will come back to Legoland probably later the year, whatever, and then I will buy the other one. It was sold out by then when I came back, unfortunately. But so that was really the first set I got afterwards, and then I was I wanted to move from Germany actually to Denmark, and I was searching for jobs, and I found something at the Lego Group. And actually back then my education is to be a lease administrator, like working with leases, with rents, and they were searching for somebody who could take care of all the global leases Lego had around the world.
Whoa.
And I thought, okay, wow, that sounds quite interesting. And yes, I searched, or I sent an application, and I got invited. And luckily, or not luckily for the employees and for my colleagues, but luckily for me, Lego decided back then to close the factory in Switzerland, because we had a mold making factory in Switzerland, also some production, a lot of housing, and some other buildings. So they decided to close some of the stuff and to get rid of it. So of course, me speaking German, because I'm from Germany, it was an advantage, because it was in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. So they felt, okay, we have two guys who are only Danish-speaking, and then we have this guy who is okay Danish speaking, because back then my Danish was not perfect, but he's fluently in German, so and English, of course, so let's take this guy. So I came in, and I did that for a year. So I was actually working in the legal department. It was a little bit strange, but and I had some very good colleagues, and one of my colleagues, she is actually she is the wife of my boss now. So I got the link a little bit connected there, and I was always building the copy products for my colleagues, because they were like, hey, we have got this copy product again, but we need to build it, and I said, yeah, give it to me, I will build it and bring it to you. So somehow I got the connection, and yeah, then I started the community team back then. I think it was called community team, actually. So yeah.
Okay. So the name changes every week, right?
Yeah, the names change a little bit. I think that's a Lego thing, to change names of something constantly. I'm not really sure why, but it's really, it's not always the same. There are some slightly changes, but all the names need to be changed. Yes.
So now, what you said that, so you've moved from the legal area of Lego, and now you're working in community. And Keith, I believe, Keith Severson was in, is it engineering, something like that?
Yes.
And then Kevin was in brand retail. Is it common to have these lateral transfers or whatever into the community team? Is that a prerequisite? Or
I'm not sure if it's common.
Is that not a thing?
But I think on the but working with the community, I'm not really sure you can get a kind of education for that. I'm not sure what kind of education that would be. So I think you need to
jack of all trades, right?
Yeah. So, but I think it's nice to have people from other areas joining the community, because that gives you, on the one hand, very nice connections or new connections in the company, because with a company of, I think, 10, 11, 12, 13,000 employees, it's really difficult to know everybody. Even though if I go somewhere, the people like, hey, I know Peter working at Lego. Do you know him? And then I must say, okay, we are almost 3,000 people only in Billund and 13,000 around the globe. So no, I don't really know Peter working for Lego. But it's helpful to have people from different areas. Of course, I think we also get encouraged a little bit inside Lego to also foresee opportunities cross-functional. But I think it is a good way of getting different knowledge into the team.
Certainly, because I know Kevin has spoken very, very excitedly about his different, he has all these plans now to kind of collaborate with brand retail to get AFLs into more brand retail stores, all that. And then you can bring up all the legalese, right?
Yeah. But I think that's perfect. As if you mention it like Kevin does, of course it's great to have somebody who knows people in brand retail. Because if you have worked there, you have a completely different, if it were your colleagues, you have a completely different connection to these people compared to if you come outside and say, hey, I'm working for the CE team and now I need to collaborate with you. Their connection need to be built, but he had a really good connection with all these people, so it's of course a perfect match that he now starts to reach out to brand retail, for sure. Cool. So it's great.
Can't beat it.
Yep. Definitely. So we've talked a little bit about some of the builders that you help with the community support and everything like that. What are some of the shows and conventions that you try to make it to every year? Are there a few that you try to make it to every year?
Yes, actually, I try to, of course, go to as many places as possible, because it's as much as it wouldn't be nice to only go to the same things every year, because then you get used to it and you know how everything works, and that's nice, because humans are like this. They always want to have the same stuff, not really moving outside the box. But on the other hand, for me, it's very important to share the love with everybody. So therefore, I try to make my utmost in traveling to places I have not been before, or to meet people I have not met before. So that's very important for me. So therefore, I usually not go to the same convention on same events every year. Sometimes it might happen. I have been last year to this huge Czech event, and I have been there this year again because it's an event which is vastly growing. It's an awesome activity. They do a very, very special concept. So it was to see the next step and to support the next step. So then, of course, it was crucial for me to also go there twice in a row, but in general, I try to rather go to a lot of different places to make sure to be able to speak to as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mix it up and get to a few different conventions and shows throughout the year, so that it's not the same every year.
Yes, that's at least my goal. Of course, sometimes of course we need to be represented somehow also at the biggest ones and the ones which probably get most AFOLs or get most international or something like that. But in general, I try to go to a lot of different things.
Have you been to any American events?
Yes, I have been to Brick World. I've been a couple of times to Brick Fair. Okay. So, but that's really like it. I think it has been between 2005 and 2007. Around there. So, but yes, I have been to US events. Yes,
awesome.
To conventions.
Now, this is something I've kind of teased Kevin about maybe once or twice. When Kevin goes places, he doesn't really, I don't know, like he'll go to the convention and stuff, but he doesn't go to people's homes and have nice sit-down dinners. And when I look at your blog posts, you're always having the best time. You got like everybody's around you. You got like pints of beer. You're just having a great time. How is that style maybe different? Is it the area of your world that you kind of deal with? They're more like intimate like that, or is Kevin just not very good at getting around the family dinner table?
I think we have very, very different personalities, and I think it's how you choose to do things. And for me, it's very important. That's also the reason why I'm not going to so many events anymore as I have done at the beginning, because at the beginning I have been out, I would say, every month, probably twice. So that has been really a lot of travel. Now I try to focus a little bit more on doing trips where I probably can see an exhibition or something, but also link that together with a visit to the office and also to meet people more in a relaxed surrounding, because that is, for me, the place where I can have a dialogue with the people. If I go to an event or to a convention, the people usually are busy because they need to organize everything. They need to be behind their displays. They need to, of course, they need to give the audience the best experience, and they also need to or want to meet each other. So therefore, being there is kind of sometimes a little bit even distracting, I would say. So I would, of course it's nice, but on the other hand, I think it's also as important to meet people on their home turf, I would say. It's very important for me to get an understanding of the people, because if I not understand the people and the way how they live and how they think and why they do things this way, it's for me very, very difficult to have a cooperation with them. For me, it's very important to get the full picture. And that's my philosophy. So therefore, I think that's why I'm doing all these, let's say, more private is the wrong word, but more
intimate. That's what
intimate meetings. Yes, it's a little bit more like that, because I see a big value in that. But that is depending on personality and on the way of working. So we have not a general rule which says, okay, you need to have drunken so and so many beers with so and so many people. that's not a rule in our team. So everybody can handle it as he likes. And I think Kevin is doing an awesome job in visiting as many conventions as possible and being available for the people, giving speeches, explaining everything. I'm probably not the person who is so much into speeches. I can do a speech for sure; it's no problem. But my personality, I rather like to be a little bit in the background and let the AFOLs come in the, put the AFOLs out and say, hey, you are the guys doing the great stuff. And
exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's different ways of working, I would say.
But so you visit places outside of any major event. You've done this. You just go and you meet with AFOLs and you go to whatever relevant Lego office is in the area.
Yes.
But that's what you do. There's no event tied into it. Not always.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes it's really like I have been in Poland lately. If you have read it on the blog, and it was they had an exhibition in a museum, but it was like yes, they showed it to me for 2 hours. But most of the time, I basically spent half of the day with the people in the office to make sure that we are aligned on cooperation, and the rest I basically spent with AFOLs, like walking through Warsaw, getting an impression of the city, getting an impression of the obstacles, of the challenges the people have, why they not can get the bricks they need, and what they want to build, and then they show me buildings where they say, hey, this is my dream building, I really want to build that in Lego bricks, and so getting an understanding of the life of the people, and because that helps me to understand their choices and their challenges.
Feet on the street, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Very cool. That is extremely cool, I have to say.
Thanks.
Now, you were talking a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that some of these builders you've interacted with like this have built you some things that you've taken home now and you display. Do you have a few of those that you can show us and show off some of what these builders are doing here?
I have chosen two because I really like those. I not really like those two most, but I feel they're very iconic and really like them. So this one is actually a model of the Star Ferry in Hong Kong, and I really love the Star Ferry. It's the most awesome thing you can do in Hong Kong. It's really basically a harbor. These ships, I think, from the 19th century, and they are basically crossing the Victoria Harbor all the time. But they look so iconic, and it's really an awesome experience to be on them. And this one is built by a guy called Schneider Chung. He's one of the, I would say, master builders from Hong Kong. He's doing awesome stuff. It's if you not have seen his creation, I would say you have not lived your Lego life right.
He came to Brick Fair once. Yes. I shook his hand. I got his business card.
That's perfect. So he's an awesome guy. A lot of Hong Kongese are awesome, but he's really a great guy. So he built this one and gave it to me. And what I specifically like about that, because it's connected to a lot of good memories, but also the building style is fantastic. It looks so real. So I really like this one. But I also have a one from Europe, to show you, this little tiny one. It's a micro scale model of the La Sagrada Familia Church in Barcelona.
Okay.
It's built by Lluís Gibert. He's living in Barcelona. He's living actually quite close to the church, and he's going there quite often. And I really tried to encourage him to build a minifig size model of it, but that might be quite big. But it's an awesome model. I really like it, and he made it for me. But also, if you look in the background, in the background over my shoulder here, you can see a model of Taipei 101. Right, you have spotted that, and that's it's a model from RAC. He's the leader of this Taiwanese group with these 110,000 members. So he made this model for me. So it's a pretty cool model of the Taipei 101. But I have numerous models around me. Built by
Is that a panda? Is that a panda I see?
There's a panda, but that one is actually done by the people in our Czech factory, because we have all these glued figures you see around, at least in Europe, they are done in Czech Republic. Like we have all these in-store figures, and that is a little gift from them. So it's actually glued. Yeah. So that's cool. Not, even though panda would be very Asian, the Asians are really into pandas. Yeah. So that are a few of the things, but there are much more, and the people. I also have a lot of models of myself. Some of them look very familiar. Others, I would say, okay, where did they got that picture from? Yeah. So it's really nice to get some of the models home. I really like that. But we also have a big display in the office. We have a big display case there where we put usually the stuff we get around the world from people to display it and to show our colleagues coming into the office, okay, what can AFOLs really do with a Lego brick?
Do you have your own custom printed Lego minifigure?
I have my own custom printed Lego minifigure, yes.
Does it have a custom designed face on it? And
No.
printing on the insides of the legs?
No.
No? Oh.
No.
Only
It's
Kevin.
it's the standard custom printed minifigure we do inside Lego.
I see.
It's not the fancy one Kevin has.
I see.
Yes.
You gotta step up your business card game there and get some fancier minifig cards.
Yeah, but I'm happy with the classic one actually. You know, that's made by us. That's the one we use in Billund. I'm happy with that one actually. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kevin has his famous Lego stores that he built while he was in brand retail. Do you do much mocking yourself or mini custom builds yourself?
Not too much actually. You know, when I started at Lego, I was of course overwhelmed of having access to bricks. That was like, oh my god. So I made some mocks also for the first exhibitions I went to. I actually displayed something, but you know, you have this challenge of doing always something new, and also transport the stuff around the globe is really a challenge. So it's really it ended at some point that I was too much busy with work, but on the other hand also want to make sure that I build all or as many as possible of the new sets coming out which are relevant for AFOLs, to have an idea about what's about the set, what about bricks on the set, how is the building experience, how's the building instruction, all that. So it's for the moment it's mainly building new sets that are coming out. It's not so much building mocks, unfortunately. But when I have more time, I would love to do that again.
Now, in your position, obviously you're talking with a lot of fans and things like that. Do you, as a community team member, pass on fans' thoughts as far as what sets should be made to designers and people like that, or is that not much of? Do you not have much involvement with that?
You know, it's because of legal reasons. It's not so easy to pass things to designers. Okay. You know, because if you would give me an idea and I would give that to a designer, or you would give me a model and say, hey, this could be the next Lego set or whatever, we always have this legal issue that you afterwards could then claim and say, hey, that was my model, so I want to have royalties for that. So therefore, the best way of getting things turned into a Lego set, or the best chance, is basically using Lego ideas. Of course, you can submit ideas to the Lego group, but we have a process in place for that, so it runs through the legal department. You need to sign a release form to say, hey, all the rights are going to the Lego group and all that. So we have a process for that, but it's not that easy to basically go over to the designers and say, hey, I have this idea. But of course, we have talks with the designers, and they come and ask, hey, do you have some input to what could be cool, or what are the people in general building or looking for or asking or questioning. So for sure we have a saying, or we can give our opinions to the designers, but not really a concrete thing where I would say, hey, I took a picture and here is it, and do something with it. That would not work.
And to the best of my knowledge, a lot of the designers are very active on sites like Flickr, kind of just looking at AFOL creations. So, you put your stuff up there. There's a good chance maybe that it'll be seen by a designer, right? If you're putting it in the right places. Yeah.
The designers, of course, they always seek for inspiration. They go to AFOL events. We had numerous examples where we invited AFOLs to Billund for doing workshops. The people looking on the internet for sure for inspiration from the outside, for sure. But it's if you really would come with an idea, it's really difficult to take your idea and bring it to the design department. That is always a legal challenge.
Of course.
Sure, from a legal perspective, that makes sense.
Yes.
And one other thing that was a little bit, you guys have implemented a little bit lately, was some new updates to the ambassador program and some of how that works. Can you talk about that a little bit and some of the changes that you guys have made there to make updates to that?
Yes, so it's now called Lego Ambassador Network, so LAN, LAN. But for the moment, we are in the process of getting applications in for ambassadors. So now we not call them Lego ambassadors anymore, because we had some incidents with that, especially in Eastern Europe, that external people got the impression that a Lego ambassador is speaking on behalf of the Lego group. And that's for sure not the case, and it never has been the case, but there have been incidents where people got confused about that. So therefore we changed the name from Lego Ambassador to Luck Ambassador. And in general, the program will be, we will stepping up the program a little bit. It will be our key communication tool with the Lux. Because in the past the ambassador sometimes have voiced the concern that they not have been involved in some things. They had a lack of knowledge of some activities which were going on, and of course you can seek and say, hey, it's the duty of the main contact person between the Luck and Lego to inform the ambassador. But we want to make a very clear cut here and say, in the future, the ambassador is the main contact person for each Luck to the Lego group. And then we have a second contact person in place. If the ambassador, you never know what happens. People can get married, they can get a new job, they can get sick, they can leave the group because they get unhappy, whatever. So we have a second contact point that we not lose the contact. But in general, the ambassador will be the main contact. He will be the main person submitting all the forms are needed, seeking for support. But we also make things easier, like with the new program. For example, if you get registered for the new program, you will be a registered Lego user group. If you fulfill the criteria, and then you not really need to do a lot of applications, like let's say for Lookbook or other programs. That will be more or less automatically you are registered for that, and then you only need to fulfill the criteria for the different programs.
Okay, so you're trying to streamline it down then a little bit, so you don't have to register
Yes.
for all these different things then.
No, right. So it's you at least you not need to apply. We have all these application processes are really tough for us because we're only a very small team, and if you have a lot of application processes all the time, it really it's still a manual physical process. You send me something, and then I need to look through the document. I need to check it to the criterias, and then I need to write an email back to you. So it's, even though it sounds not so much, you need to consider that we're talking for the moment around 250, probably 300 Lux. So if you need to do that for each Luck, and even though it's only a tiny amount of work, it's a lot of Lux that would add up to a large amount of work. So therefore we want to streamline it a lot.
So you're going to be reducing the email chatter. Is that the buzzword?
Yeah, at least that is one new feature, I would say. Yes, that we of course I still would think about that we not get rid of, if we want to use that word, of all the contacts we have now. So we need to, on the one hand, try to streamline, on the other hand, not to leave the good contacts we have done so far behind. So it needs to be a mix of both things, because if we would basically only say, okay, now we are speaking only to you and to nobody else anymore, we will throw all our good contacts out. So it needs to be a slow transition somehow.
Yeah.
But in general, the ambassador need to be involved in everything somehow, at least to the degree that he is copied on and he has the knowledge of what's going on.
I from my log, I have talked to our ambassador before and kind of just got his input on it. And when you're kind of having those contemplative thoughts in the shower in the morning, like what's wrong with the Lego Ambassador Network? What could be done to help it? Basically, everything that is going to be rolled out is kind of like everything that I was sort of thinking. That's like about the most efficient way to run a thing like this. So. Yep. Kudos to you and everybody you've been working with. I think this will be a good new start, I guess.
I hope so. I think the crucial part still, and what I see where we get measured on, or where the challenge really lies, is that the ambassadors not only need to be the messenger, because the messenger is okay, and you need to have a messenger, a person who translates or who gives the message, but they also, of course, are the core people we will have a much stronger dialogue with in the new forum we are setting up. So it's important to also put efforts in from our side, and also that the ambassadors want to put efforts in. So only if both sides put a decent amount of efforts in this program, we will bring it to a new level, and that is something really need to work hard on. Otherwise, we will not get there. So it's really a crucial point for us now to use a lot of resources to make this happen and to make this work. And that's what we are putting in now.
this is like more of a specific question. So I know for a lot of lugs, they've had people that historically have been incredibly important to the founding and the kind of the continual maintenance of the group, but for whatever reason, they're not currently really able to participate in the day-to-day operations of the lug. Will they have access to the Lego Ambassador Network? Because say that they've been a contact for Lego beforehand. Will they continue to have access to the Ambassador Network, or is it only like one or two people that are very dependable and they're currently engaged? Will they be the only ones with access to this portal?
It will only be the Lego, the luck. Sorry, not the Lego, but the luck ambassador who will have access. But the luck ambassador need to be put forward to us by the group. So the group need to choose the person they feel best represented by.
Okay.
And if it's a person who has been around for a long time, and they feel this person has the necessary knowledge and efforts and time to put into, I think they should choose this person. Otherwise, it should probably be somebody who I think it always stands and falls with the level of engagement you can put in. Exactly. Because it's great if you have a big knowledge and you have been founding the group, but if you have no time to put in, you might not be the right person.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So I think some great stuff there that you're implementing then with the Ambassador Network at least. Is there some place where people can, a website or something that you guys have set up to get more information with that, or if they want to register for that, where's the best place to go to do that?
You can check it out on our blog.
Okay.
So
okay.
On the CE team blog is all information and all forms needed.
It's one of the best blogs on the internet these days.
Thanks. I think we could. I personally think we could get better in writing even more things. But we were really good at the start, and then I think I at least, and Kevin and also Kim, we all make a big effort in writing at least about our trips. But I also would like to have more time to write about things which are going on in the office or more the daily stuff. But it's on the one hand that might be boring after a while because like, hey, I'm checking emails. But on the other hand, it's I think it would. I learned so much from people that they really appreciate it and they really feel okay. It gives a very different view or a much bigger insight about what's actually going on. So I think
it's true. It's very true because I mean, for the most part, you could be. I mean, you don't work inside of a bubble. Obviously, you're in contact with all these people across the world. But there's really you don't have like a soapbox kind of somewhere to stand and tell everybody what you're doing. But now you have a blog. You have somewhere to kind of get it all out. So
so we only need to get even a little bit more active on there. That would be my wish. So.
It's like you need an intern or something to just write posts all day, right?
We should not spam you. Come on. So it's a kind of but I think I will try my best to get even a little bit more active. But at least I also enjoy to write about my trip because it's usually very nice, to get some pictures out and to show some pictures of the people I meet because usually the kind of known by name in the community somehow. But putting a face to the name is always nice. So therefore I make also an effort to take some pictures with some people on. But I think I also really enjoy to recap shortly about the trip and giving some learning, some insights. So I personally really enjoy to write on the blog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a great blog, and I'll make sure to have a link to that in the description of the video so everybody can check that out and start following it and keep up to date with everything you guys are doing over there.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you.
Now, to finish it out for us tonight, do you have any shows coming up in the future that you'll be going to, or any areas that you'll be visiting with fans and stuff, if people would like to be able to maybe see you there?
Yes, for sure. We have end of the month. We have the Lego Fan Weekend coming up, so it's a 10 years anniversary. And then we have, I'm not completely decided yet, but I might go to Hungary in November because they are really planning a big show, a big event with probably around 200 AFOLs participating. So that's really big, and Hungary is really one of the markets I'm very interested in. And then I'm traveling in December to South Korea and to Hong Kong.
Okay, so some great trips planned there. So you'll be doing stuff with different fans, and like you mentioned, the Lego Fan Weekend as well. So you can see Jan there and interact with him in person there if you'd like to, if you'll be at those shows.
For sure, everybody's welcome, and otherwise everybody's welcome to send me an email. So it's no problem at all. So that's completely fine to do that. So yeah, nothing is too small, no question is too small. So feel free to do that.
Okay,
no such thing as a bad question. Woo!
Feel free to whatever you want to send him, go for it. He's always available for your emails. So.
Yes, for sure, and that's of course I might if it's a US or North American or South American request, I might redirect that to Kevin, or to Kim if it's for another region. But for sure, it's always fine to drop me an email and ask questions. I think that is always important for me to be there for the people. You know, I'm not here because whatever I feel I need to be here or need to do this. I really here for all the AFOs to make sure that they get a great experience and a great connection with the Lego group. That's my job, and that is what I'm here for.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool, and we appreciate the effort that you and the whole community team puts into serving the fans. Obviously, it's a big help to people like us doing the show, and then obviously all the Lego sites and people like that out there. So we definitely appreciate the work you guys put into that.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
So it was great having you on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us here. I know it's later there where you are, so with the time difference, but we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
It was a true pleasure. So yeah, I'm looking forward probably to meet you one time in person. So feel free to come over to Europe. I probably also come to the US. Let's see. But make sure to make a trip over here. You know, I would love to see you in Billund once. Probably we can set up a nice interview with one of our big shots over here. Probably make an interview with the CEO or something like that. You never know what's possible.
We'll be crossing the pond very soon, I can assure you.
That's great. Let me know. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to work out something like that in the future. Definitely cool. Sounds good. But I'll make sure to include links to everything we talked about, like the community team blog and everything, so that everybody can start following those resources there and keep up to date with what you guys are doing. And I'd encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube page here at Beyond the Break if you want to keep up to date with all of our latest episodes and all the videos that we're releasing here. A lot of great stuff we're continuing to bring you guys on a weekly basis, so make sure you subscribe and don't miss any of our videos in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.